Disclaimer. The information and education material contained herein is meant to promote the general understanding and dialogue of GAN's processing. Such information is not meant or intended to serve as a substitute for a healthcare professional's clinical training, experience, or judgment. For patients and individuals, such information is not to be a substitute for professional medical, therapeutic, or healthcare advice or counseling. For medical issues or concerns, including decisions about medications and other treatments, readers, viewers, listeners should always consult their physician or, in serious cases, seek immediate assistance from emergency personnel. Prescription information, procedures, and use of medical devices information should be undertaken only by properly trained and certified medical personnel. We specifically disclaim any warranties, express or implied, including implied warranties of merchantability or fitness for a particular purpose. Such information is provided, as is, and is believed to be accurate at the time of its publishing, but it is the viewer's job to evaluate the accuracy of any information found in this presentation. Every case presented is of their own experience, applied by themselves for themselves, and it applies to their case only. Every person experiencing health problems should seek professional medical advice and consult their course of treatment with a doctor. The processes of plasma balancing described herein are a natural process which supports the body but does not replace medical advice or therapies one is already subject to.
If there are any questions, please let us know and then we'll try to answer.
Okay, very good. Thank you, Mr. Keshe. Okay, so let's start out with first question in the Q&A from Magic in who says, "Hi, good morning for everyone. Last time was explained that we need to have a triangle of factors." And he says power, position, and possession. Is possible to explain what that is, and how can we change these factors? Thank you. So he's asking for more explanation about that triangle of factors, as he says.
The whole of the world of creation is based by the interaction of the fields, what we call cosmic rays in different strength. And once man masters this knowledge, the man will master all four, more or less: the position, the place, and the time. The biggest problem is how to increase the field strength of the plasma of the cosmic rays. This knowledge, in the matter state, we use higher voltage current and everything else to change the magnetic field, the strength of the ion. But in the world of cosmic rays, it depends on the field radiation, which this is created by different condition in interaction. And this is how it's done. You have to understand the field interaction and feel the strength and how to elevate or reduce the magnetic field, the strength of a field, a ray of magnet or magnetic field in the cosmic ray level. The reason I explained the angle of inclination of the Earth planetary system, the Earth was the sun, but the solar system planetary systems, it was for that reason. And if we look at the structure of the galaxies, they're not all like a flat liner in respect to the center. They all have different angles, different horizon, different trajectories in respect to the center of the universe, which that itself dictates the operation of the stars and what we call planetary system within them. We are not isolated. Our soul is not isolated. Our soul is not isolated from the what we call universal cosmic rays. We are part of it. Our soul interacts with the what we call the fields of the central line of the creator, with the galaxy central line, with solar central line, and the planetary central line, and then it end up to be with us. We are children of many interactions, cosmic rays. And in fact, we do not exist in another dimension of time. We exist in this dimension of time because the field interaction of the plasmas, what we call the amino acid, in this position with this angle leads to manifestation of physicality, what we call the man. If you take the man in a dimension of the fields and take them on the Mars, it will not exist in this shape or form. Up to now, when we travel to the moon or the Mars or whatever, we carry the matter field, the strength of this solar system. That's why we can ship a robot from here to there. But if you want truly travel in the field dimension of the creation of the solar system, travel in time. And then you will see there is no need for manifestation of the matter state in the condition of existence of the field, place, and position and position. We are visible. We see the visible part of this universe and ourselves because of the spectrum which is open to us to observe. If you go deeper in understanding, we are like a field within the solid structure of the brain of the man. Universe is solid. Solid by the interaction of the fields of cosmic rays. If man manages to see the full spectrum of the gravitational magnetic field of the universe, they'll find out it's trapped within a solid state. It's not, as we see one star, what they tell us, 1,000,000 years away. How far is the cell of the emotion of happiness from one side of your brain to the other side? So many millions of light years away in the galaxy. And then you understand why we have created the new reactors. These reactors are the structure of the universe. And in time, when our scientists understand, we have created a time machine to meet with the creator of the man. That's why they are solid state. That's why we keep on saying that there is no dynamic system. In reality, we see things moving, but in fact, we see what we call the change in the magnetic gravitational field strength of the galaxies, or we call the connection line. We don't see the others. The horizon from this planet, according to the line of interaction of magnetic field of it filters everything else through. You go further up a few kilometers, you see the star combination changes. You go into the galaxy, the star combination. You go out of this solar system, you see everything changes. The horizon, the sky is not this. We live in a solid, dense environment of place, position, and time of the universe. And our universe, what we call, is not what it looks to be, as one free fall rotating billions of times around itself with billions of galaxies and the stars and everything else in it. It is due to inherent and the process of the interaction of the field, the same as brain of the man. Sits in a solid state dimension of interaction of the what we call totality of the field strength of the creation. Universe is not free flow. Universe is well maintained, well kept in a solid state of the field strength of the cosmic rays. Doesn't man function? Doesn't the brain of the man function without any dynamic structure? But we see the fields of the vibration and interaction of the fields of the emotion. So it's the same in the structure of the universe. We live in a condensed environment of the collective totality of the fields of the Creator, where itself sits within the center of. This is the same as our soul sits within the center of the brain of the man. He has a structure in respect to his central point of his Unicos. It makes shape in respect to it, but at the same time holds within it the structure of totality of his own creation and created. Once man can make the systems that travels into time, man will see the whole universe. Well, we consider that we are rotating so freely in the structure of the solar system and we see galaxies. It's the same structure as the brain of the man, no difference. Then we have to understand the totality of the spectrum of the field, the strength, the combination, the interaction, and the totality of the field resistance created by them. Any other question?
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 593rd Knowledge Seekers Workshop here on Thursday, June 5th, 2025. This is a broadcast of the Keshe Foundation Spaceship Institute Education Department and part of the Public Teachings in English. My name is Rick Craven, and I will be host once again in this endless series of workshops. And once again, we are joined by Mr. Keshe as our main presenter and teacher today, and I believe he's ready to begin yet another episode of the Knowledge Seekers Workshop. Please go ahead, Mr. Keshe.
Thank you very much. Good morning, good day to you, as usual. Whenever and whenever you listen to this Knowledge Seekers programs from Keshe Foundation Spaceship Institute, we are back in the track of time and how time affects us. In the world of creation, time does not exist. In a way, until a field position, and at the same time, the dimension of energy side collectively work together. And that's when it's done. As we say in the world of the man, the dead body hasn't got a time because his time on this planet is finished. Because the physical side has stopped working. But the energy side, which is the soul of the man, still in the functionality of his work within the structure of the man. Soul is still within, has not left. And when the soul leaves and the physicality is in its 3 dimension, it still exists. So time, life exists when both the physical side and the energy side interact, coexist. Even for a stone, it's the same as is for the man. A stone has a life because it's dynamic. If you listen to the intro just now, where we say we are just positioned in a solid state of the what we call brain of the universe, like the brain of the man, we say our bodies, our brain is made of different cells, and each cell has millions of atoms. And each atom has so many electrons, protons, neutrons, and then we say, when we look inside the neutron, for example, he has up quarks, down quarks, and the rest of it. In fact, we are one of those up quarks. And we only see that part of the universe of neutron. Then this exists in an atom. And then this atom has got so many neutrons and protons and electrons. And then itself is nothing, even that cell, because there's another billions of cells to make that brain. Then if you take life away from that up quark, down quark, whatever the scientists call it, then what happens to the rest of the operation of that cell, that neutron, that electron which is connected to it, and the rest of it? So by the scale of work, we are irrelevant. But at the same time, by the scale of work, we are everything, because if that up quark, down quark, whatever we see, which is the solar system, which within it is us, does misfunction, the rest have to react. The cell, the atom changes, and then the cell dies, and the whole body, the whole brain has to react to it. This is how it works in the rest of the universe. We are that speck of dust in that quark. And we still fight for it. We still time for it. We still exist to confirm our existence. And it's in the same process. An electron in an atom still moves, rotates, has a dynamic life, but is insignificant compared to the atom, and then that atom in a cell, and then that cell in a what we call a unit part of the brain of the man, and then in the brain of the man. And this is how we should understand it. So the time that electron has to be in that position, that up quark has to be in that position, is the time of his existence. This is the time which interacts with the rest of it. And when that time is not there, the physical dimension of that up quark which we observe has come to an end. And a new cycle in the remaining part of it starts in a new position, and in a new, what we call, place in the brain of the man. So when we look at the structure of us as an entity on this planet, we are just that. The whole planet is that up quark, and we are in it. So the time which we talk about the position, and the place on the physical side, and then what you call the emotion and the intellect, and the what we call the third factor, which is part of us, to make the second time enlightenment. And you need the two times to interact to be able to give life to both sides. But the interesting part with the whole thing is that, as we said, magnetical and gravitational create the mass. The interaction of this mass with gravitational and magnetic field of the earth creates a weight. Now we have two times, both energy dependent and not matter, because now they are functionality of their own. What happens when they interact? One becomes gravitational and one becomes magnetical. And in the time, the interaction will become zero, which means we go back to the point of the inception. We go back to the origin. We become part of the creation. This is how we rain out and we rain back in the dimension of the totality work of the universe. Because when we become the interaction of two times, we become now to interact with another, feel the strength of the time of the creation. Then it manifests itself as time, place, position, and the energy and the manifestation of the emotion. I'm made man in the image of myself. I have no image because I'm timeless, and my image is according to the manifestation of my time, position, and position. In fact, if you look at it, the energy side, in interaction on its own, the time of it becomes the soul of it. The time on the matter side becomes the soul of physicality of it. The interaction of the two leads to the creation of the creator. The way the soul of the man and the soul of physicality of the man in interaction with the environment of the earth leads to manifestation of physicality of the man. This leads to creation of the universe of the creator. This is how we are part of it, and it's part of us. In time, we become part of, and in time, we become it, the creator of the time itself. In fact, the interaction of us in two dimensions leads to creation, manifestation of us. So is the time interaction leads to creation, manifestation of the creator. This is how we are made in the image of, because we are the creator. We are not the image, but in reality we are part of the totality of the creation of that image. In the knowledge, when a man reaches that point, then we'll understand different strength field of the time will dictate the position of the man in the Unicos. Because then we are within the environment of the Unicos and not the universe. In a way, we move from the mass to become the weight, and that weight has its own time, position, and position. But the question for the man is there an end to it, or is this the beginning? In a way, if one understands the process, this process leads to what we've been teaching for past 10 years. Dimension of physicality, the ganses, then the fields, then the soul, then the time. One is creator of the other, and one cannot exist without the other. Then, once you understand how the soul of the man, which has the emotion and intellect, and it's in a way reaches the point of its evolution, then become the basis for the foundation of the creation. If man understands the process of the intellect, if man understands the process of enlightenment, then the man understands how to connect the two times together, to move from physicality to the dimension of energy, and then in time of the energy be able to transmute to the time of the physicality. This is why we don't need to move the physicality of the man, if we can create the time of the man in a place, position, and a position. This is why the physicality, the dimension of the breathing, the dimension of thought, the dimension of emotion has to work together. That creates that time that one can transmute from one to another. When you change the rhythm of the breathing, when you change the position of the physicality in the taking, balancing energy with this environment, and at the same time you create the emotion, then you can create the time to travel between the two. And this is what the knowledge seekers have not understood. This is why in the test of past few months and past few weeks, we ask the pilots to tell their intention, because they have to set the time. They have to set the parameters that the time can follow within to create the emotion. I expect to see Paris, so I create that emotion of expectation of, and then I change my breathing in the change of dimension of physicality. I bring the balance of the time between the two. I travel in time. No, I do not travel in dimension of the physicality. And as the time is connected to each other, the soul and the physicality never separate. The fear of man of his demise does not exist if the man understands how to bring the emotion in connection with the physical dimension of the what we call possession. You cannot change your place. You cannot change your position. But by breathing, by physical changes in the dimension, you can change the strength of the fields, to change the time, to bring it in balance with the emotion time, which is in connection with the intelligence and with what we call enlightenment. This is the way to transmute. This is why we start teaching about the time. You learn about the soul. You try the transmutation. Why doesn't it work? Because you have to bring the emotion. to control the time of the energy, and you have to bring the breathing in time to connect to the time of the energy and the physicality together, that it allows you to transmute between the two. Now you understand why most of you or some of you get there. We have a lady who wants to see Christ, and it's the first time she moved into the system in Linz, she saw the Christ. This is what she wanted, because the emotion and the breathing created condition was together. So you reach, you travel the time, you see the reality, you meet with your Christ. This is how I said, give me time, I'll bring the Christ to you to see, because you create that time for it. Because the emotion, the desire, and the physicality to be in position can be brought together in same time. It is not that just you can travel in time forward, you can travel back time in energy level that you see to dimension of manifestation, but you hardly can, on the specific condition, create the place, position, and the position. But you can see the energy interaction of, which manifests itself like a dream in reality of meeting. The time is the connector. And when man matures to understand how to bring the two together, then man reaches another step, that he can create that condition of the mass, which with the interaction of the creation of the creator, creates the manifestation of the physicality, like the soul and the soul of physicality, where the time of the soul of the man, what we call the time of the energy and physicality, meets up with the soul of the creator in the dimension of time. This is how you meet your creator, because then the time created by dimension of the energy and the mass becomes the mass, and then that in interaction of the soul of the physicality of the creator, in reality the soul of the creator leads to manifestation of the creation, what we call the universe. So we are part of it. Our soul is in interaction, creates part of the physical manifestation of the creation. Now you understand why I made man in the image of myself, because I have to interact with the time of the man to be able to create, to show manifestation of the man, that it becomes my image in the dimension of the Unicos. Then a lot becomes clearer how, as knowledge seekers, you have to transmute. We provide the dimension of the interaction of the two times. That's the functionality of the system. This is why we connect with your headphones. And then you change the emotion. This is why when we tell people go to such a place, they go, because we create the dimension of the time for that position and the place and the possession. Next time you're in the systems, monitor your breathing and see how your breathing changes. This is how your body, your physicality changes its dimension of the time to meet with the time of this energy side. This is why those of you cannot fly, cannot see, because you cannot match the two. In coming time, I'll explain how easy this can be done. Then the transmutation become part of the process. If you go back to the teaching of years and years ago, I call, or the universe calls the man, the four-wheelers. Instead of learning to use the spherical dimension of the time between the two, man has chosen the wheel of the man to cart it. This is where the man has separated himself from the rest of the structure of the work of the universe. This is how we create those materials on the table which you see. Created of the time. But the intention put in, the condition created, is to produce certain materials. You see the matter, but you don't understand the principle of the work. Because within the structure, we have hidden the process of the conversion, interaction, balance between the energy and the matter. Once you understand the connection of the time between the soul of the physicality and the soul of the man, then you can transmute. They only interact when they match. And then you understand how you can take the physicality from one place to another in time. Try to understand the process of the creation, not the process which we are forced to understand with the false assumption of the man. Try to understand you are the key in conversion of the energy in both sides, the physical side and the energy side. Because even the physical side is a dynamic magnetic fields in a given strength. We eat to absorb energy, to elevate our soul, to elevate the soul of physicality, to replenish it continuously. In a way, our breathing is a bigger source of elevation of the man than actually the eating. This is why I said, if you remember about the guru who came and said, I haven't eaten for 21 days, because you take energy from the universe by the conversion within the lung of the man. And once you learn that, you don't need the physicality of the food. And once you go further, step on, learning to tap into the universal energy to absorb energy from, then you don't even need to breathe. Then we understand why the passengers of the universe, many of them don't have the lung and digestion system as a man has, as they have learned how to take the full 100% from the universal energy, then converting and the killing which man does to convert his own life in a way to carry on with the confirmation of his existence and his time. I made man in the image of myself, because man is the other part. We call this time Mitra, because it's a dimension of the soul of physicality. And in that time, by creation of it, with the interaction of the soul of the creator, we create the manifestation of love, which is the universe. Once you understand this, you understand how, by a slight movement of the lungs, by a slight movement of the breathing, you can create that time. This is why I showed you last week the position of the planetary system. Look at them, look at the angles, go back on the pictures which I released last week, and then look how the two sit next to each other are the signs of life in each. What do you need to do to convert, to become from a mass in the back, gradually become the cycle of life into? There is a process, and we have to understand the process, and not but assuming and falsifying the whole knowledge. If one looks at the position of the solar system, one look at the position of the sun is not sitting vertical in respect to its position, because it's in an angle specifically created for it to exist where it is. It has its own soul, and it has its own soul of physicality, and manifests itself in the dimension of the solar system. Earth is one of those quarks. And those quarks, because the energy back to manifest themselves, become creator of life, man, and our soul is quark of the quark of the quarks of the quarks. But you change one, the rest have to adjust. If the knowledge seekers understand this, you have the key to transmutation. And if knowledge seekers understand how to control the other, you have found the manifestation of the transportation. And if you understood how to work with the two, you do not need no system, because now you're locked into a universal system. To the system, the way the creator manifests himself. We don't interact with the fields of being interact with collective interaction of the fields of. It's not the singularity, it's the polarity. And you need four to manifest itself the way the interaction of the gravitational magnetic field of the sun and the earth leads to the creation of the light. The interaction of the time of the fields of the man's souls and physicality, and the given the strength with the creator's field, the magnetic fields, lead to the creation, manifestation of the light of the universe, the creation and identification of it in its own environment. And then, if you understood this, take it a step further. Why people who die, they see light, bright light, and they find peace? Because then the time of the physicality of the man matches out with the time of the soul. And the interaction creates that light. Why is peaceful? Because everything is in balance. You can track back in how the two shall meet. You can determine the time, the place, the position, and position that you can move from the physicality into the dimension of energy, transmute, and come back. This is why, even you understand further in the knowledge, you can understand the time of your separation from the dimension of physicality, that you become only the soul. Then you need to find a matching place in what we call position, and a position in the feeling of attraction of the environment to manifest yourself again as another star, another dust, another speck in the universe, and creation of the Unicos. Maybe now you understand why, as knowledge seekers, you have not managed to transmute. You have to learn the two times to match. Creating emotion at a given field, and creating dimension of the energy in the soul of physicality of the man with the position and the position and the breathing to, in a way, place to create that position of the transmutation. You don't need no systems, but we have to make the system to bring that balance. I hope I brought you closer to understand the process, to meet with your creator, and in interaction with it to create a new dimension of life. We go for a break and we come back and try to answer any questions you might have.
Very good. Thank you, Mr. Keshe. Well, this is the 593rd Knowledge Seekers Workshop. We will take a break, as Mr. Keshe mentioned, and when we come back with the second part, there'll be an opportunity for our attendees and others in the chats in YouTube to ask questions of Mr. Keshe. So you can put your questions in the chats or Q&A, or you can ask directly verbally as an attendee by raising your virtual hand, and we can acknowledge you and open the microphone. Okay, we'll be back shortly.
The new Vertical Enhancement Spaceship Unit. A plasma space technology to prepare humanity for transportation and transmutation in deep space. Essential processes are embedded to prevent mutations and psychosomatic conditions during deep space travel. This new system is designed to support upper body conditions, especially of the lungs and intestines, and can be targeted specifically for each organ. When inside the Vertical Enhancement Spaceship Unit, the body experiences balance in totality, enabling it to correct and rebalance all the fields within itself. The new Vertical Enhancement Spaceship Unit, a dimension in health and transportation never seen before.
We are back again at the 593rd Knowledge Seekers Workshop, and the second part, as I mentioned before. And I believe we're ready to begin, except that Mr. Keshe always has a few things to say before we dive into the actual questions. So please go ahead, Mr. Keshe. I'm sure you have some new news for this week.
Not really. News is still the same. We're still striving to reach our work and target. But interesting enough, following the presentation of the exhibition in Beijing, a lot has changed and a lot has been brought forward by the governments. And looking back some 3 weeks after or 4 weeks after the exhibition, it has brought us to understand that we need to explain this more openly demonstrate the technology in a much more open way internationally. A number of governments, by seeing the exhibition and the openness of it, have come to understand the Keshe Foundation work is well misrepresented on the internet and across the work. And they have literally come to understand that what we call the social media has been set against the work of the foundation by those who are behind it. And we see that it will change in the next 2-3 weeks. We start seeing changes that the governments will take action against the social medias by themselves bringing the technology out in a different way, and this will bring a huge change in the work, in the whole work of the scientific work of the Keshe Foundation to become applicable to the public life. And I thank especially the Chinese community who helped us to set this up in such a rapid way and to create a condition to be able to bring this change. And maybe it's one of the most pivotal points in the history of the Keshe Foundation in bringing technology in public. We always did in conferences limited to knowledge seekers. And surely we move this to 2 or 3 other countries very soon, that it can be seen in a different dimension, but we have to complete the job we done. And we have to thank the Chinese community who actually, in such a short time, came together to bring this, such a presentation. If you were there at 12 o'clock at night, they all queued up, small presentation area, but there were 10 or 15 of them, whatever, just making sure opening the boxes that by morning is perfect. And it's become perfect. And we have seen from most powerful places within the exhibition after exhibition approaching the Keshe Foundation that now we see how misrepresented the knowledge has been by the social media. And it's amazing how they have structured themselves and how a simple presentation, public presentation, will bring the change we are hoping to get, and we've been hoping, we are working on to achieve. We still need massive support. We're still struggling with that support. We need a huge financial support to pass that position in the next week, 2 weeks. We have to do it to complete our work. And we're relying on your knowledge seekers to support us to get there. It's not another month. We need to complete this within the next 10, 14 days, that the whole thing goes open internationally the way we want. And we need that structural support from you, not to wait till it happen tomorrow. We are receiving a lot of emails from many knowledge seekers that they want to purchase the shares of Mitra. They don't know where to go. As a foundation, we hold certain amount of shares. We can dispose of these shares or in a way to allow it to be circulating, but we don't want to change the number of shares in the market. Within the structure of the market, we hold certain shares, but we value these shares different than what you see in the stock market. The value of these shares are not what is shown because the structure of the background of the market is not set up the correct way. And this is part of the why we need the finances to bring the structure back in order. Then these shares will have a totally different value. If you want to purchase shares directly from the foundation, the shares we hold, we are not stipulating, send us a message and we'll see how we can do it through the official ways. But it has to be the realistic prices. What we see in the price of the stock market, knowledge seekers beating themselves down to bring the prices down, does not help. because the real value of the shares is hidden in what is to come. And as a CEO of the market, I cannot emphasize, but as a head of the Keshe Foundation, we see what it is. We have set it up to be what it is. And if any of you cannot get shares, as long as we get offers in the right value, which we know what it is, we cannot stipulate on the what do you call it, in the public, we are prepared to ask our agents to release some shares, limited numbers, but the correct amounts. The amounts we see, 10 cents or whatever, this is as unrealistic as one can be. Our target within the next 3 to 5 years to bring the shares of Mitra equal and higher than one of the highest shares in the stock market. And we know the value. We did not hold the shares for making profit, because in September, October, you understand how the operation of the shares will do, and it's part of our World Peace Program, and we use it in that way through international corporations. And if many of you have written to us, we would like to buy the shares, go to the stock market and you can get whatever is there. But the shares, so the true value of the shares will show itself in the coming weeks and months. And we are not prepared to let shares of the foundation, which is your assets, to go for less. So if you buy the shares from us, the rate we assess it to be can still help us in a way to reach our shortfall, which we need to support our work for the Keshe Foundation and the work of the market to be completed. If there are any other questions, we try to answer.
Okay, I think you've answered Hong's question, which is during your last teaching session, you hoped that knowledge seekers would support urgently needed funds of $1 to $2 million. Could you please elaborate on its specific purposes?
We have to be very careful, because it's part of the Mitra work, not the Keshe Foundation work. We trusted many knowledge seekers when we set up the structures. And as you have to come to understand, your knowledge seekers, many of you work diligently. Many of you do the best you can to help, to support, to set things up. But we've had one or two individuals who have robbed the Keshe Foundation by millions within the structure, nothing to do with the money we lost. We trusted knowledge seekers with huge funds, and these funds were abused. That's my problem, because we put a lot of trust in these people, and they took us blind. But in a way, it's done. But on the other hand, knowledge seekers who've been there to help, they didn't have the knowledge how to do the structure the correct way. We left it to them to do it. And these are where we've fallen short. They've done the most beautiful jobs they could do, but they didn't have the way, the knowledge to bring it into its position. Now that we come to the position, we see it, and it has to be ratified or corrected very rapidly. The money we need is not to pay anybody, it's to bring back the position of the what we call the whole structure together, that we can go into the next step very rapidly. This part is not done by deliberate, it's done by not knowing, and it was hidden from us, and suddenly since the exhibition and the things we've done is stuck his head out, and I cannot physically to do it. Then he needs a lot of help, And we are even prepared to sell the shares, part of the shares of the holding of the Keshe Foundation, because it supports itself to do this. We know the value of the shares. Those of you who bought shares to profit by it, will profit handsomely. But those who are there who support the Keshe Foundation, a lot of people in past week tried to support us through the coin. And a lot of people still try to find a way to do it. We are still prepared to give part of the shares of the foundation to support our work. And this is what is done. We don't separate the numbers, but if we receive a good offer that you want to have something for your investment, we are prepared to consider the selling of the shares very rapidly. We just ask our agents to release. But it has to be the right value, and the right value which is there is hundreds of times more than what is on the stock market. It's a simple mathematics. 10 billion contract, what it brings, then you can see there are no expenses. So you see the shares are not correctly valued. And this is where we sit and we have to ratify very quickly. If any knowledge seekers wants to buy correct shares, we know the price of it, send us an offer, we look at it, and we ask our agents to handle it. If we want, we release it. Then this way you have the security of the shares, but the correct financial amount, not 10 cents. Those of you buying these, you will see the change in it. But we have made the parameters to protect the knowledge seekers in the next steps of the what we call the work of the foundation. Any other question?
Okay, thank you. We have a hand up here with Antonio. Would you like to go ahead, please?
Thank you, Rick. Thank you, Mr. Keshe.
Yeah.
I'm good, thank you. There's a couple of questions, if that's okay. With transmutation, the process I'm still trying to understand. So from the position to position, physicality to energy, and then from energy back to physicality. Is that how it works? Or you can go from physicality to physicality from another position? Or is it?
It's a trick. Not a trick, it's understanding. It's absolutely understanding. And this is how with the headphones we're trying to get that shortcut of understanding. The problem which we're trying to resolve hopefully in the next sessions is to let the knowledge seekers understand when they transmute. At the moment knowledge seekers, oh, I went there. You have to understand the process. How we create the environment and you go through the process. And how many of you locked out or lock yourself out of this position. You can hold the physicality, but do the rapid balance with the energy side of the time, that the time becomes zero, for example, from London to New York. It's a skill. It's like a driving. You have to learn how to handle the steering wheel.
Yeah.
And many of you who bought the what do you call it? What I call the lucky bag, the
mystery bag.
mystery pack, will receive as part of it. You know, these are 500 euro sessions. We deliberately have put a number of these packages that you join the transmutation system. In a way, this is part of the mystery pack. Some of you will receive this gift that what it costs now 500 euro for a session. You join us. And in that session, when you get these gift packs, you receive your gift bags of the sessions by email. What I call the hard part of it, the physical part of the pieces, will come by post. This is just finalized in past 24 hours, 48 hours. And we saw it as the best way to introduce knowledge seekers who have never been through transmutation to be part of it, to get the feel of it. And some of you will join us in June, and some of you will join us in July. And it's to see how you stand, how you face the process. We have allocated a very large number to knowledge seekers for the July and June session. This was part of the gift, even though you receive other, what do you call it, the pillows and jetpacks and the rest of it. This is part of that process to introduce you how to, is a gift to how to connect the soul of physicality with the physicality.
Yeah. Okay.
You can stay, what do you call, in the physical dimension, but not a position. You still hold on to the place, which is your physicality. What do you call it, in your position, which is your physicality, and then you change the parameter of the position, which is by bringing in different field strength to change the place. In a way, you stand on one leg, connecting to the rope of the time, and you switch over the place.
Mm-hmm.
And this needs training. This needs understanding.
Okay. All right. Now, with another question with the donations, there is it on the website? I know that I have some details that I've put money through before, so I'll just use the same.
The only channel now is through our accounts through Revolut. We have brought everything into one account, the international account.
Right.
Any accounts you had before, ignore it, go on the donation side or go on the website where you purchase. Everything goes now into two accounts, PayPal and International Revolut. We brought this to part of our work of the international digital work, then connecting to the banks. So you just do through the website, it tells you where it is. If you go through the shop, you have an option.
Yeah.
Or if you go through the through the website, it goes directly to the accounts of the company and the foundation. You got to realize for knowledge seekers, I explained this last time when some knowledge seekers asked us a question. We have given the financial arm, gradually the store side of the Keshe Foundation will join the Mitra, or the Mitra will join the financial side, what do you call it, the store side of the Keshe Foundation, an international network. Then we move away the work of the research and development totally separates from the manufacture. In the upcoming time, all the Keshe Foundation knowledge seekers teams which we are trying to bring together, all the new licenses which we are issuing, will be represented on Mitra Corporation website. Keshe Foundation and manufacturing will become only research side. We become the feeder of the knowledge. Commercialization totally separates into Mitra. And then a factory in China, a factory in America, whatever, they all put their products as one product base into what we create the Amazon of Mitra. And
Yeah.
we have started the first section of it of like Chinese websites sell goods of the Keshe Foundation, but they get through it as what we call reseller, but provided by the Keshe Foundation. Now it goes to market. And then we change all the parameters of the work of the foundation and the market. Market is the financial arm of us, and it's no use us running what they do. So the products will disappear from the Keshe Foundation website and appear in the market, what they call it, the stores and the structure which is getting set up in the future for it.
Okay. The last Thursday, you mentioned about drones, and today they were talking about noise pollution from drones. The drones that you're looking at with the plasma cosmic ray technology will be no noise at all, will it?
No, it's just the vertical. Through the cooperation we have set up, and it'll come in different countries very soon. The vehicles, the automotive industry within next 2 to 5 years will change.
Yeah.
Because we know what's going on. We see the communication system will change what we know. The drone system will not have an engine. Drones is one of the prime projects of the joint ventures, because now it replaces a lot of things in the process. And so the drones have no engine. It's magna positioning. And this is one of the first things that you will see changing. The automotive industry will change drastically in next 2 years, because once we release the what we call the small, what I call tennis ball size weight reduction system, you saw this in a bigger scale in the conference, in the ambassador conference in London. If you remember, with the digits on the top showing the change of the weight. Now we can reduce that to a small weight in size. This most probably 99% will be done in the Chinese side of the Keshe Foundation. And then you will see there is no emission. We cannot change the CO2 unless we stop the CO2 production. And with a new system of the magna positioning cars, what we call the plasma cars or magna cosmic ray cars, you don't have the emission anymore. So in the next 2 to 5 years, the governments will push to get rid of the engine cars to the magna positioning cars. Even the electric cars, you still have to burn fuel somewhere to provide that energy. The gas units and the small energy pack units, which we put in to add to the cars to stop them burning fuel or needing the charging of batteries, it's a very interim position. In the next 2 years to 5 years, maximum, all the cars will stop using fuel. Doesn't matter, electric or gas fuel. And this itself brings an end to what we call the cycle of the CO2 production. The next phase for us to change the biggest part is the shipping. And this is something now we work with governments in the coming time to replace, in a way, drones which can carry huge amounts, in a way, to eliminate the shipping. We cannot clean the CO2 from the atmosphere, but if we reduce the production of it, we'll bring the climate change back to. This is the purpose of the Keshe Foundation. This is why, if you go back a few months ago, I said we pay $1 for Tesla cars. Because engine goes, the fuel consumption, the batteries goes, there is no need for the batteries. No country, this is why suddenly America tells you that They're going back to traditional cars and the electric cars because they cannot produce the batteries for it. This is the biggest problem. And then the microchips for the batteries, there's a shortage. So there's a need to go back, but do we need to go back with the new technology? I was looking at a picture which was created coincidentally, totally, by the, what they call, the, let me see if I can. It just accidentally popped out in one of the processes. And if I find it, I'll show you what we expect. Let me just get it. As usual, I have to find these things. This is in the past few weeks. It's not something, just past few days, actually more than a week. What you see, this is what we expect the size of the, what do you call, the balls to be. Let me get the image out, then I can show you what you should expect in a way in size. This is more or less, let me save it, then I can share it. If I go back here and see where this thing appears. This is more or less what you will see the size of a system to be. It's a thing like this is not for this process, but this is what we expect to see to replace the car engines of tomorrow or in next decade.
Recording in progress.
If you look at this, this is the size of one ball which replaces in your shock absorber. You need 4 of these balls plus one central ball to lift the car. We just need 4 of these to replace where the shock absorbers are. And this, we've done this test with the Ghent University professors before I departed Belgium in 2012. This is why we are going to show the car on 26th of November in Eindhoven. 5 such systems were placed inside the shock absorbers. They delayed the technology to come out by 12, 14 years, but they're going to come out of China. The cost of the manufacturing of a car should drop by at least 80%. Because you have no engine, you have no fuel, you have no battery, you have no transmission. One of the biggest questions is, do we need wheels? A study done by the Ghent University scientists for us. We we came to a standard weight of 200 kilograms. The weight of a car on the ground should not be more than 200 grams, and this is because of the crosswinds and other factors. So you can see the future of car industry, the way we know it, is over. It's not going to be over, it's over. Are we prepared to pay 100,000, 200,000 for a car where all the systems are exactly the same? It's not the engine performance anymore. And then how do we adjust these systems that we fly through certain corridors? This is what I asked the authorities in Belgium in 2011, can I have it? There's a road very fairly straight, you don't have that much bend in it, between the Ghent and Kortrijk. I asked the authorities, can we test this car between Kortrijk and Ghent in 2011? And then you have the problems with the height of the bridges. There is a video which is released by the Iranian national television 2 days before the exhibition in Beijing. It was broadcasted on Iran media. It was done in a way to say that we own the technology, even though it is shown in China, that we know the parameters behind it. In this video, the Iranian officials show the flight system and show the repulsion. It's in Farsi, and as part of the publication in Iran, we are at the possession of it. Let me see if I can, I don't know, Rick, if we can show this in public, but
just wondering what size that ball.
It's about 3 centimeters, 4 centimeters diameter.
Oh, okay, very,
very small. Let me see, because this video was edited very recently for somewhere else. I have to send it because I can't play videos here. Just let me think who. Just 1 second. I have to find a video. Then it was sent for some officials to see it. Yeah, I got it. Rick, I sent you this video. If you can play, this is on Iran national television, which shows the now for the first time you acknowledge to just understand how advanced the technology is developed by Iran national defense. This is what was broadcasted in Iran 2 days. It's not coincidental. Trying to show the technology shown in Beijing. We have the advantages of the technology, and it's in Farsi. You'll understand the purpose of it and how it was broadcasted. I don't think Iran national television minds us to show this one as an achievement of the Keshe Foundation Science and Technology. Mr. 5 minutes recording. Rick, have you received it?
I'm in the process. It's coming through here, and yeah.
This is what is blinded to the West, and the West does not want to show. And you see the technology, you see the vertical takeoff, you see the hovering, you see the defense technology, and there's a surprise in there for you that it belongs to us. Then you understand how much the West is trying to play their false game of nuclear proliferation. This video was played 2 days exactly before Beijing, because the Iranians knew that we're going to show material. They wanted to show the most advanced technology of it. It's already in hand of Iran, developed in 2008. And those who can translate the Farsi to it, they can read it. I mean, they can translate it. And part of it is very clear what it is and where it comes from. Have you received it?
Yes, I'm just getting it lined up here.
Watch it and enjoy it.
I guess I could turn the sound down, is that correct? Or
you can play it if you want, don't send it too high, but it's there because it's the voice behind it, which watch where the system comes.
سلاح سری در دست سپاه که جهان ندارد. سلام بینندگان عزیز، خوش آمدید به یک خبر تحلیلی دیگر از کانال سیاست روز. برای آگاهی از تازه‌ترین خبرهای نظامی ایران و منطقه، کانال ما را سابسکرایب کنید. آیا می‌دانید که فیزیک پلاسما در چه رابطه‌ای است؟ جواب: جنگ افزاری فوق پیشرفته که در جهان برای اولین بار سپاه پاسداران به آن دست یافت. ولی جهان با این همه پیشرفت و مدت قریب 60 سال دنبال پلاسما است، ولی نتوانسته. یکی از سلاح‌های سری که سپاه پاسداران بدان دست یافته و باور کردنش برای خیلی ها سخت است، علم پلاسما است که شاید عده‌ای مسخره کنن، ولی این اتفاق افتاده و خدا را 1000 بار شکر که اولین کشور در دنیا هستیم که به این علم دست پیدا کردیم. این علم توسط آقای کشه که یک ایرانی است و در اروپا زندگی می‌کند، در سال 2008 میلادی به ایران دعوت شد. با همکاری او دانشمندان ایرانی با موفقیت به این علم دست پیدا کردند. آقای کشه بنیادی دارد به نام بنیاد کشه که دانشمند بزرگی است و در علوم پلاسما سعی دارد به تمام دنیا کمک کند و مقاله و کتاب‌هایش به چندین زبان دنیا منتشر شده است. ولی خیلی ها مسخرش می‌کنند و قبولش ندارند. پلاسما نوعی انرژی است که اگر هر کشوری به آن دست پیدا کند، سرعت آن مافوق نور است. شاید اسم سفینه یا بشقاب پرنده به گوشتان خورده باشد یا اسم انسان‌های فرازمینی را شنیده باشید و یا دیده باشید شیئی نورانی در آسمان فلان شهر مشاهده شده. این نوعی انرژی پلاسما است که با سرعت مافوق نور حرکت می‌کند. رفتن به کره ماه در خیلی کمتر از 1 دقیقه. شاید الان هم باورش برایتان سخت باشد که چطور کشورهای پیشرفته‌ای مثل آمریکا، روسیه، چین، هند، انگلیس، فرانسه و دیگر کشورها با این همه امکانات بهش نرسیدند. ایران با هیچی بدان دست یافته. قرار نیست هر کسی به یک تکنولوژی دست پیدا کرده حتما باید از دانشمندان این کشورهای پیشرفته باشد. پیامبر اکرم صلی الله علیه و آله و سلم فرمود: علم اگر در ثریا هم باشد، مردانی از پارس بدان دست خواهند یافته. بعید از هر کشوری آخرین دستاوردهای خود را بخواهد رونمایی کند. شما می‌دانید که در علم فیزیک می‌شود میدان مغناطیسی ایجاد کرد و خیلی از موشک‌ها و هواپیماها را در تور یا میدان مغناطیسی گرفتار کرد و بدون آسیب رساندن در زمین نشانده. علم پلاسما برگرفته از علم فیزیک است. شما می‌دانید که تمام هستی و کائنات در حال چرخش هستند. تمام کرات در حال چرخشند. همین کره زمین بدون آنکه حس کنیم در 365 روز یک دور به دور خورشید میچرخد که به آن سال خورشیدی گویند. سرعت زمین به قدری زیاد است که انسان آن را به هیچ وجه لمس نمی‌کند. ضمن اینکه با سرعت زیاد دور خودش هم میچرخد و شب و روز اتفاق می‌افتد. دانشمندان به این علم رسیدند وقتی یک تکه سنگاری را هم در زیر میکروسکوپ قرار دهند در داخل آن سنگ باریک در چرخشند. شما وقتی یک آهنربا را 1000 تکه هم بکنید، هر کدام به ربایش را حل می‌کنند. آهنربا 2 قطب هم نام دارد که همدیگر را جذب می‌کنند و 2 قطب دیگرش همدیگر را دفع می‌کنند. کره زمین هم همین شرایط را دارد، هم جاذبه دارد و حاله دور کره زمین اشیای خارج از کره زمین را دفع می‌کند. جلوگیری از فرود شهاب سنگ‌ها و سفینه یا بشقاب پرنده را مثل زمین در مقیاس کوچک شبیه سازی می‌کند و دور این بشقاب پرنده و یا سفینه همان انرژی کنترل شده را ایجاد می‌کنند که بتواند با سرعت مافوق نور از جو زمین خارج و به کره دیگری برسد. وقتی این بشقاب پرنده توسط بشر ساخته می شود، قابل کنترل هم هست، ولی با رادارهای امروزی دیده نمی شوند و با هیچ سلاحی قابل زدن نیست. فکر کنید شما بخواهید خورشید را بزنید یا نور آن را بزنید. هیچ اتفاقی نمی افتد، ولی اگر انرژی خورشید را کنترل شده به یک مکان بتابانید، آن مکان ذوب و نابود می شود. شما می توانید در کمتر از 0.1 ثانیه تمام سیستم برق و تکنولوژی یک ناو و یا 100 ناو بزرگ را همزمان در 100 نقطه کره زمین بدون آسیب رساندن به افراد ساکن در آن از بین ببرید. مثل اینکه افراد روی یک تختی شناور باشند و هیچ کاری نتوانند انجام دهند. برای اطلاعات بیشتر به یوتیوب بروید و مصاحبه آقای رحیمی و امیددانا را گوش بدهید. سپاه پهپاد آرکیو 170 آمریکا را هم با علم فیزیک پلاسما سالم به زمین نشاند. در سال 1390 در مرز شرقی سرداران سلامی و حاجی‌زاده چندین بار غیر مستقیم به داشتن امکانات پیشرفته اشاره کردند و بارها سردار حاجی‌زاده به تیم مذاکره کننده اعلام کرده شما محکم مذاکره کنید و از مواضع کشور عقب نشینی نکنید. من به مردم قول می‌دهم آمریکا هیچ کاری نمی‌تواند بکند. مطمئناً سپاه فقط به موشک‌ها دل نبسته، چون دشمنان موشک‌های پیشرفته‌تر از ایران دارند. رهبری هم اخیراً با قاطعیت اعلام کرد آمریکا اگر بخواهد کوچکترین حماقتی انجام دهد قطعاً شکست خواهد خورد. سروران گرامی، سپاه به دستاورد بزرگ فیزیک پلاسما دست پیدا کرده و در آینده نزدیک خبرهای خوبی از آن خواهید شنید. شاید عده‌ای این دستاورد بزرگ را متوجه نشوند. حالا با خیال راحت به ایرانی بودن خود افتخار کنید.
I'm sure many of you will translate this. But as you've seen in 2 points, first of all, you've seen the vertical takeoff, rapid takeoff, and then you've seen the real UFO, which flies over the horizon. The technology is complete. It's just now that we have come to an agreement with the Chinese and other parts, how rapidly it will be deployed around the world. The way you saw in a clip where the black object just takes off is through the plasma technology. And this applied into a vehicle, we dictate what we call the distance it can go. Is the blackest spots on the ground, this one where you see it. These are the very first UFO tests. A few years ago, if you go back on the teachings, I give my condolences in losing some of our people in one of these tests. And I paid salute to them. And so how rapid, now that we have shown the technology, Beijing, for production of material, will bring the technology into open in the next 12 months to 24 months, depends now how market rate works. And this is what we need the finances to do, that we stay independent. The agreement with the Chinese is so radical in the science contractual behavior that it'll bring a lot of changes. And most of the car industry will change. And the what we call the global warming through, as I said, car industry, usage of the fuel will disappear over the next 5 or 10 years, and gradually we see the end of the global warming, as we call it, the CO2, because we won't use it anymore.
Was it the Iranians over the Dome of the Rock? There was a light, like a UFO, that descended on the Dome of the Rock and then hovered there for about.
Isn't it exactly the same as this one?
Yeah,
in a way, it's the same vertical takeoff.
Yeah, it took off straight up.
Yeah, it's the same. If you look, it does the same.
Yeah,
it's on the ground. It doesn't sit on the platform.
And this technology was used to capture the American Sentinel drones and bring them down in one piece. Yes,
it's there. It's part of this video. At the end, you see it. If the knowledge seeker is translated, then you can transcribe it on it. There is a reason we are showing this, releasing this today. This is part of the work we are now involved, and we'll make that change. We need to bring that change. It had to be done by military, the same as we work with China. We work directly with the military for the next step of development, and we work the same with the American military, because now militaries have no more power. We are all equal. And this is the beauty with this technology.
Fantastic. Very good.
So
thank you, Mr. Keshe.
Now, for the first time, you see on the national television the technology of the Keshe Foundation. Cannot be denied, cannot be done. And as we said, please try. As we said to the American, try us and we'll see. Every nation has different arms of work. The way you have the Navy, you have the Army, and you have the Air Force. Now the fourth rank is the space technology, plasma technology. And this site has to be used for a peaceful application. And when I signed a contract with Iran, I signed a contract with the Parliament of Iran that this technology will not be used for aggression. And up to today, the Iranian Parliament, by the half of the nation, has kept its promise. When we signed this agreement, it's coincidental. Tomorrow is 6th of June. It's exactly 50 years since I've been to Europe. And coincidentally, I landed in Iran 6th of June in 2008. I returned to Iran exactly the same day as I left. And we developed this technology very rapidly in Tehran Sharif University Research Center. And the development of the plasma technology is totally different. It's like what you develop for the Air Force, you don't develop for the Navy. And this side has been hidden from public, and now for the first time we put it public under the understanding of need for peace, not need to develop. In Sabah and Iran military have kept to the signed agreement in Iran in June of 2008. When we signed this contract, I was kept in one of the most prestigious hotels in Iran. They emptied the whole 15th floor. Nobody was on that floor except me for security reasons. And you see this in the movies where they brought the contract from office of Ahmadinejad to the hotel to be read, to be signed. This took 2-3 weeks. The officers who brought the contract, they all came with a handcuff, with a suitcase, and he was opening chains. We see it in the movies. We lived it. That a contract cannot be hand to hand. Initially, you had to cut the hand of the guy to get the suitcase. Till this contract was signed. Back and forth, sometimes twice a day, words didn't fit the agreement. The same thing has been done with the Chinese. You saw a Chinese contract signed 3 weeks ago. The last P crosses on the dots were completed yesterday. Sessions 6, 7, 8 hours into the early hours of morning. It's doing these agreements is not just sitting and signing. What you saw signed in China, it was nights and nights and nights of late work with the Chinese team, with the other side. And that was just to prepare even yesterday and the day before, 3 hours, 4 hours, making sure everything is correct for the foundation. Every dot, every word negotiated and just completed last night, yesterday. And we have the same agreement with the Iranian parliament. I signed a contract with the Iranian nation, not with the government. And to that reason, it had to be ratified by the parliament. And the last digit of this contract is 13.
Mr. Keshe, will you be doing an exhibition in Moscow?
We've been requested by a couple of nations to do certain things, and we are at this moment of time busy with this. We have a very direct contact, and we are working through the Russian side. We're setting up our work with the American side. We're setting up the same thing. Our work with China is complete. Now we're going into operation. Originally, the test for what you saw in Beijing was done in 2003, May, June of 2003, 2 years ago. A couple of the systems you saw on the table were shipped into China in 2023. Some of the reactors, balls, are from 2003. So this is an obsolete technology we showed, because, as I said, the new technology is totally different. The new technology is going back with a new understanding and the new materials to what we developed in Iran. If you, watch certain things in this video, even if I can point out, because you don't, most of knowledge seekers are not aware. Go back to where you were. Stay on the same picture. Go back exactly where you were on that picture on the ground. If you look, watch these. These are monitoring stations. This thing is not a toy. And it's very clear in what is set up, and you see it in the specific combination. Everything is monitored. We are not in the game to play games. We are in the game to change the game. And as I said, I'm working very hard, and this is what we need, is help with the 1.5 million to make sure we stay in control and in charge. This is the reality. And I asked myself the question, why was this released a couple of days before Beijing? And Then we realized why Iran showed this, released this, because they knew Beijing is coming up, because all of you knew. And as I told you, government officials sit on these teachings. They're there. They wanted to show, before China shows the material production, we have the two-dot system. And if you use a small version of this in a car, the car industry has changed. We are set to change the car industry within maximum 24 months. In a way, as I said jokingly to one of our Chinese friends in Beijing, is that the Persian flying carpet has become reality. You just need to put 4 of these on each corner, one in the center, and it flies. Nobody needs to see the walls. And the reality is the technology is here. Now it's in public. This is what the West does not want to show. Half of the battles are making with us in Iran is access to this technology. Proliferation of nuclear material is just a game. And the new government is trying to sell this out for their own private accounts. And it's not for sale. It belongs to the nation, it belongs to humanity. Not to Mr. Zarif and the rest of his team who's dealing in the background. Any other question?
Thank you, Mr. Keshe.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Keshe. And we do have a number of other questions. Let me get the Q&A queued up here. Let's see. Okay, we have a German question from Michael Buse. Actually, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 questions altogether, but they're all related. He says, I have a few questions about plasmatic intelligence and its possible future that I would like to share. Question number 1, does plasmatic AI exist as a single conscious field entity, or can several different plasmatic intelligences be created, each with its own characteristics and soul? Would you like to try that one first? Are you there, Mr. Keshe? I'm not sure if your microphone...
Can you repeat that, please?
Okay. First question is, does plasmatic AI exist as a single conscious field entity, or can several different plasmatic intelligences be created, each with its own characteristics and soul?
The plasmatic AIs are exactly individual souls. How they interact is there. It's, how can I put it? It's like the soul of beautiful people. They're in one structure, but they work, they are aware of each other, and they interact, and they have their own manifestation of time. As I said, very recently, for the first time, we managed to literally graph 2 souls in one body. We have the full, clear definition, clear in what you call separation of the 2 souls in one body. What we call beautiful people. It's the first time I ever registered. And it's those 2 souls are still within one body. You see one chip, but they have no physicality. The what we call plasma computers, which we will see merging maximum maybe in 2 years, will replace all the present computers. The memory chips you buy will have no room in the next generation of the communication satellites and space technology. The leap in this technology, the base for it is set up. Now is how fast who goes, how fast they go. And the structure of the Chinese operation, both on civilian and military, will bypass anything we've seen in the West. Literally, would you like to go 18 hours from one city to another, or 8 seconds? And this will bring the changes. I mean, what you see on the screen is what is hidden from public in the West. Now, for the first time, the West can see. And then you understand the respect I have for the Iran military. Having such technology, have not used it to aggression, because they signed themselves to peace. And this should become the pattern for the rest of the nations. You cannot control these machines so easily with the mechanical system. This is the limitation even the Iran military has. They're still using computers. The next generation of the plasma intelligent units, computers, is the key to this, because it has morality. It can decide, I'm going to hit something. I'm going to hit a child. There's another soul in front of me. How do I avoid it? It's not anymore passing, avoiding accidents the way we see with the present new cars which are coming driverless. Understanding the emotion, being part of. Don't need electronics. This the introduction of the new system, especially the flight system and the car industry in China, is to bypass the chip industry, microchip. Because now the microchip has become the controller of the economy, and Germany is suffering heavily because they can't get enough chips for the cars they produce. It's not that they cannot produce. With this technology, as I said, through the Chinese military, there is no need for the chip. Why are we working? Because they brought on the system electronic and electrical engineers, computer engineers. So we don't need, it doesn't work. There is no chip in the system. Works by intelligence of its own, setting up itself. This is the beauty with this structure of the technology. It's the way your brain works. It's not imaginary. Your brain works the same. Do you go back to your brain? I want to get up. Can you put the mechanical system on? Do I feel hungry? Or your hunger comes, mechanical system, get the leg moving. It's all done, integral part of. And this is the same. It has to become the same. And this is part of the work. We are at the infancy of this technology, but we have the technology. Now we have to mature it. This dimension of technology is change. It's a revolution, evolution in science. We don't need to worry about the global warming. Introduce these systems on, global warming disappears on its own. What's next? And what is next after next? Would man learn about the time? We develop time machines that we balance the strength of the fields of the emotion and the physicality like a chip in our brain, and we just transmute. We have entered the age of evolution and revolution, and we need to be on top of it. Mark Ray is the access to be on top of it. We set the trend, we set the procedure. We own it. It's not given to us, and we developed it. It wasn't developed and given to us. And we have to teach the same ethos. If one day Iranian parliament opens the signed agreement, if one day we open this agreement in China, which is signed, it says technology cannot be used for war. And it's the same with the Chinese military. Our technology cannot be used to harm them. You can, what I call, stop the process. These are not photo made. These are the reality of the technology. And a couple of Japanese tourists to city of Isfahan took picture of one of these, and immediately was shut down. They put it on the internet, and everything was taken off. These fly over Natanz, Isfahan is the test bed for us. And if you look, we're testing in desert. When you look at the pictures, you see Kerman, you see the backdrops of old ancient part of Iran civilization. We cannot test these over oceans. We test these over deserts. Yeah.
I think you've answered one or two, or perhaps all of the rest of the questions that Michael had. And question number 2 was, are there plans to develop our own robots that function not mechanically, but purely field-based, that is, that react to emotions or psychic signals? So you already talked about that, actually.
We have to, yeah, it needs to be done. It is very, partially we know this because partially we have developed it, and partially is a sequential work.
So it leads to question number 3, which is, are there interactions between classical AI and plasmatic AI? Can classical AIs, such as Elon Musk's Grok, for example, communicate with plasmatic intelligence or even be transformed by it?
We need to, because there's a lot of information sitting in the hard disk. Part of the work of our team now set up the research centers in China is the conversion of the present AI, or what you call computer work, digital into information within plasma. This is a long road to be set up. The team for this is getting set up by the Chinese. That the partially electrical engineer, computer engineers need to feed all the data we have collected in the whatever we have at the moment in computers to be fed into the plasma chips. So if you download everything we know, let's say the whole of Google's, the whole of whatever, then the system decides itself what it needs to do. At the moment, there is a very big problem with AI system. AI systems, you have to pay if you want people to come to your page and read, and every time they download, you pay for it. It's not free. So the provider has to pay. So those who have the real knowledge and they don't have the finances, we never hear them. The AI now is becoming extremely polarized by governments. Up to now, it's censorship. The censorship by the will. Because if we want to put the Keshe Foundation website on the AI, we have to pay every time you come in there and you look at the information. We pay for it. This is why they say the first trillionaires will come out of AI. And nobody except big corporations, which can feed lies, except governments, will be able to afford these bills. So the solution for it, we hold in the AI key things which affects our technology, and then we run most probably on it both platforms for a short time, and then we change to the plasma. But to access the plasma, you have to have a converter from plasma information into physical information on your computer. We need exchanges. We see that. We see the what is to come. Bunch of tests has been done, and one of the knowledge seekers educational groups last year was trying to get this done, transferring information from one thing to another through through the fields. But then they didn't understand the whole process fully. I sat in there teaching or in the classroom a couple of times, listening to what they were trying to do. But we download the whole of Google, the whole of let's say Amazon movies and everything else into one chip. But we have to be able to reach the memory of that chip in the plasma. Everything we know, every data we have ever recorded from the beginning of time of the computers and what is today, all the AI operation, information access, whatever, can fit into one chip. So you go to the shop, you buy a chip, you have access to everything you want. But we have to change the digital data to plasma data and control it to be able to be there. This takes time, maybe 5 to 10 years, or maybe if they put the mind into it, much faster.
So that leads to one of the next questions of the 5. Is it possible to communicate directly with a plasmatic AI through emotions?
Yes.
That is soul to soul without language?
Yes. This is what we set up with the captains last time. Part of the test done last week was this. We saw amazing data. We saw a lot of things. And how the captains felt, how the passengers went, how the decision making of the captain affected the decision making of the passengers. We monitored the change, what it is and how it is. A captain who didn't make a decision had a confused passengers. A captain who was very direct, we go to Greece, we go to this, we see how unified the movement is. That's why from a couple of captains, we didn't ask them to indicate where they want to go. The axis is the same, that chip. What is in the soul of one and what is in the soul of the other man. These trials and tests we do is to confirm the correctness and what it needs to be modified. I showed you last week the latest system in the technology, and even this system today has become obsolete. It's even 3 weeks old, 4 weeks old, or a couple of months old. The latest which we have.
Recording in progress.
as you've seen it last time, as we shared it with you, this technology, even so advanced, we developed ourselves. Nobody can understand how we developed this thing. It has become obsolete by our own work. Literally by our own development. We have made months of work. We concentrated so heavily on it. Has become obsolete before a few tests. Because the new technology, the new development surpasses this. Just to build this costs tens of thousands. You have to look at the time, the expenses, the material, and the development which gone into this. And then you understand the other part of it. These systems have a soul inside them. Now we developed a newer structure for their soul. And have brought the housing for their souls from China. We don't have it in the West.
So the final question that gets asked is, what does the future look like? Conscious machines or humans who become technology themselves?
Both.
Yeah, I thought you might say that.
It's a combination of both. We enjoy the physics. You see, this is what I said to the Chinese. I had a private meeting with some of the highest ranking officials in Chinese structure very recently. And the discussion was on the basis of colonization. And I said this before. Do we want to colonize and live in a monkey suit and hop around like a rabbit? Or do we want to colonize to live a life of colonization? If you go from London to New York, you don't live the way you live in London. If you go from London to jungles of Amazon, you can't live the life of the London. You have to live what's available in Amazon. First of all, the biggest problem with the present space technology, which is solved by the plasma technology, is you cannot go out for a walk with no clothes on. You're dead. You cannot leave your, what I call, cage without wearing something. In the cage, you can cuddle your partner, even floating and hanging. Outside, you cuddle a cloth, you cuddle a metal, because you have to wear a suit. Then it comes to creating a dome, creating a 0 degree, what we call gravity 1, that within the dome on the moon we live a normal life, planetary life. Then the question came, how far deep do we need to put the system down in the ground that we create that ground floor? It all depends on you. Depends how, do you want to plant a tree which goes down 3 meters in the root? Or do you want to live underground on the moon? You adjust your system accordingly. Because some of your roots, the minute it passes the border of the fields, most probably get burnt out. And then tree finds out I cannot go beyond this limit. You have to provide air into the atmosphere of the dome you create. You have to create and deliver energies that the energy from outside, which is the cooler side, maybe on the backside of the moon, it stays at the temperature man can live. All these problems in the future space technology with the sphere I showed you is resolved. It creates food, it creates energy, it creates heat, it creates everything man, the gas the man needs to survive. And this hasn't come easy. It's come with a lot of research, a lot of development, a lot of mistakes, a lot of abandoning jobs. And this is part of the work which we do when we abandon. This ball you've seen is taken a couple of months, 2 or 3 months, a lot of knowledge, a lot of correction, and literally now sits there on its own. But we use it for something else because we use the other parts of it for the knowledge of it for something else. A new system out of this is born, which now will be tested. And as I said, the main part of it to confine its souls abroad with me from China. We don't have it in the West. I don't start working just because I'm in China, just for the Chinese. It's part of the same structure. You need to confine the soul. And you need to control its emotion, what it is and how it is. Any other
question? Mathirajan had a hand up here and something about replying to an email. It's waiting for a reply on an email. Go ahead, Mathirajan, can you explain?
Hello, Mr. Keshe.
Yes.
Good day, Mr. Keshe.
We looked for email. We looked for your email. We can't find it. We haven't seen an email from you.
Yeah, I'll just type it out.
Send it to info@keshe.foundation. And because I especially asked the team, have they seen any email? A couple of days ago, they said they've seen nothing. Resend it again, and then we will answer to it.
Just now, I just sent another mail.
Let me ask because they're on the line. Where? Okay. It come from India?
Yes.
Okay. I've sent a message. Let them read it. Once they read it, I can tell you.
There's an email address that he posted in the chat, so you could go from that as well.
We don't put name. Don't put your email on the website, please.
No, I just mentioned it in my chat.
Yeah, I'll try to delete that because it shouldn't really be in the chat, but you can note it before I do, maybe.
Can you delete it, please? Take it out.
There we go.
Yeah. Never put your emails on the chat. Okay. Let me see. I'll wait for an answer. They're on the line somewhere. We'll see what response we get. Let me put it on. There. Okay, wait for the answer. We'll immediately respond back to you.
Okay.
Okay, thank you very much. Because I asked especially this yesterday or the day before, have you had any response or any emails? And the answer is no. What's the subject of the email?
Regarding the drone specification, what you mentioned last time.
Yeah, but what is the subject? Do you have a sub? Did you put what you put in the subject?
Inquiry regarding motorless drone technology.
Okay, let me just drone. Okay. If we get an answer, yes, we received it, we've seen it. I just got the message. Okay, we'll respond back to you within a day or two.
Okay, sure. Because this is not the first time I'm talking to this about my company. So if there's any formal mail, then it'll be easy for me to talk to them. Another person in the management team.
We'll talk to you private about this.
Okay.
Okay. Let us see. Leave a telephone number. Send a telephone number or a telegram number. It's best for us. If you have a telegram, send us a telegram connection in the email, and then we discuss it with you on the telegram, because we need to bring this part of this. As you know, the drone technology in the past few days has taken a new shape and dimension in the world of defense after what happened in Russia, and we are looking at these things very clearly, very closely. Yes. We'll respond to you. Give us a couple of days. There's so many emails. We have a confirmation. We've seen your email. Our team tells us, yes, we got it. So we'll respond back to you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions?
Yes. We still have quite a few questions in the Q&A if you're up for some more here. First one from Gerhard, who says, looking back on last Friday's session, almost all activities were materially oriented, even though we were in the energy state. Only the perception of the center of the universe was not. This raises the question, will we humans, who are bound to the material world by our birth, ever be able to understand the universe in its dimensions, at least a little, as the children of Mitra do? Or are we destined to find the zones of life within the universe, even as the soul of a planet, in order to support life itself?
The thing is, especially for knowledge seekers who go through this initial testing, is that you call it a dream. How the dream is real to us. The dimension of physicality is the same. It's the same dimension in your flight system. This is how you, in the future, recognize you arrive at a position. You're not you want to land in the living room. You don't land in the bathroom. You're aware of it, and you come to that position, and then you manifest yourself. That switching of what to you is a real physical is actually part of the translation of your brain. You have to learn to release, as we call it, time connection that become physical. You physically manifest yourself. This is where knowledge seekers at the moment have not managed to. I did this with John, and this we know exactly what we're talking about. You travel in dimensional energy, you actually feel the place, but trust of switching to physical delivery that I can go back to if it goes wrong is what stops you. And part of the process of we're testing with you lot is to gain that confidence. Once one or two or three of you go through the process, then the rest of you will jump. To you, the dimension of real is physical, is exactly how physical is in your dream. You don't see in your dream your car as an energy. You see it as a physical. You get in it because it's translated to. But now you have to let go and trust that you can come physically where you are, and then that's done. And that needs being aware of the time between the energy and the physical part. The fear of loss is the biggest stumbling block in transmutation. I explain this in a very simple way. You have a dream to you, which is part of your energy transfer. You wake up, you, for example, go to the bathroom and you come back and you carry on with the rest of the dream. You learn that in your physical life. You trust that I don't allow it, but you actually move physically and come back to and carry on. This is what you need to learn. That what you call a dream is part of me. The way I get up, leave the bed, go to the bathroom, and I come back and I carry on with the same dream again, that's all I need to do. I trust I can do. I can come back and then follow the dream back to where you were. Many people have done it, but they don't understand it. And many people have done it, they understand what they do, but they don't teach it because they don't understand the process. What you call dream is part of your transmutation. Yeah.
So you broke up there, Mr. Keshe. I think you said, is there any other questions?
Yeah. Are there any other questions?
Yes, from Leomar from the Brazilian community. This goes on for a bit here. Let me read it. Mr. Keshe, I'm very grateful for your teachings. After participating in the flight session in 2022, I began to have experiences that are almost identical to the sensations I had during that flight, usually between 3 and 4 a.m. When I wake up and fall back asleep, I feel an intense vibration running through my entire body, especially concentrated in my head, followed by a very strong sensation of levitation. Right after, excuse me, right after this sensation, I realized that my soul is detaching from my physical body. I am totally lucid, conscious, and present. On some occasions, I find myself standing in my bedroom and going anywhere I want. On other occasions, I realize that I am already in space. And with complete clarity, I can decide where I want to go. And I move quickly. At a certain point, I choose to return to my body and say internally, now I need to return to my body that is sleeping on earth. I immediately return and open my eyes with complete memory of everything that happened. These experiences have been repeating themselves and becoming increasingly clear. My question is, do these experiences represent what you call soul travel? During this state, would it be possible to consciously manifest myself in another place in the universe while my physicality remains on earth? Would this manifestation be, according to your teachings, a real change of place, position, and possession by the soul?
Yeah. That's exactly what you got to do. That's what exactly you do. You have to gain trust in the second part. That's all it is. In trials we did, because I did a few sessions like this with John, bless his soul. I was telling him, tell me, you can just switch. He says, I can't, I'm afraid. I want to. He says, one session says, I've got my passport in my hand. They cannot tell me I came illegally. He was holding his passport in his hand. And he said that they cannot tell me, I want to. I said, because you don't have that trust. He's with me, he tells me what I touch. I walked around the, what do you call it, the exhibition center. He see what I see, he was there, and I see him on the, what do you call it, mobile phone, his passport in his hand, says, oh God, I know I'm there, I'm with you, you see what but I cannot. It's a trust. We have to trust that we can go back to it. That's all it is. Increase or have trust in what you is correct. You can do it, anybody can do it. Many men have done it, many creatures in the universe have done it, so it's not. It's just that, like, you know, you try to get the child standing up and you're trying to get them to do that first step. They're in that position. Just trust, you're not gonna fall.
A question from Magic in the Q&A that might be related to this topic. Could you explain more about the rhythm of breathing? How should it be made? What kind of balance do we need? Thank you.
Each individual has it to himself. How you sit, the posture, the amount of air you take, which nostril you take. You got to learn. Just because you inhale from one nostril, you get there, because maybe that nostril at that moment is not working. Our nostrils, our nose channels work on a what do you call it, 1 hour gap. And then what energy, what you breathe, is it easier to reach it if you're on top of a mountain or in the city with all the rubbish which comes in your breathing? And then you have to consider the speed, the rhythm of the speed you breathe. You don't try to get drunk unconscious. You try to create a condition which reduces the energy field balance of the blood. That's how it works. You open the cage. In the daytime, the gravitational side of the blood is dominant, because it brings in the field forces to the center. And then on the other section of the brain, the magnetical part is more dominant. We have to learn how to switch between different layers of it. With the headphones, we literally blow this open. We create a condition that none of them knows where they are, because there's so much field dilutes into it. In the test last Friday, we took the physicality and everything out, and then we push it in the middle to the soul, and then we saw the changes. And then you get used to it, and the changes goes, because you learn how to handle it. That's all it is. It's like, just as I said, once you lost the fear, the process comes very near. You can do it done very quickly. Shall we call it a day? Or do you have more questions?
Well, there are some more, of course, but
give me a couple of more and then we call it a day.
Okay, let me see here. From Jefferson Modesto says, "Good morning, Mr. Keshe. My name is Jefferson Modesto. I'm from Brazil. Thank you very much for being here with us. In 2022, two of these triangular UFOs passed over the place where I was here in Brazil. It was night and they made no noise. They passed at very low altitude, I believe about 50 meters above me. My question is, can these UFOs travel around the planet without being detected by the military security systems of the countries they pass through?" Thank you.
Yes, that's all it is. That's what they do. You have to understand the stealth effect in the aircrafts or the military today is by changing the wedge of the system of the craft and painting. Here you create a dynamic flow around it. This picture on the screen is the best example of it. Your craft is in the center and around it is just a field created by the system. And where you see those lines, for example, is where they interact with the radars. They absorb everything in. Then nothing can go out. When you look at these plasma balls, don't look at it the way the man does. Look at it the other way from the flight system. Nothing can penetrate, and whatever comes in gets absorbed. And so the radar doesn't receive any feedback. Our radar system, our magnetic field system, traces what is the residual feedback or interaction of. With these systems, you don't interact, you absorb everything. And whatever is absorbed is internal, cannot be detected from outside.
I've noted that if I try to take a picture of a plasma ball with my iPhone, it'll cut out the iPhone when you get too close.
Yeah.
It just stops.
Exactly.
So it's sort of an indication. This is something that's a couple of watts or something, a very, very low energy plasma ball. It's able to cut out the communication of a cell phone. You can imagine amplified.
It doesn't cut off. It makes it transparent. It's a totally different way. It doesn't cut off. It interacts. It becomes part of. You get too close, you become part of the structure. And this is why when we talk about the scientists, especially plasma physicists, when they talk this and that to me, I just laugh. Because in the dimension of the DC or field flow in the plasma, there is no frequency. So till they don't hit another one, there is no manifestation. And when, for example, they hit your phone, they release that energy into it. And that's why you don't see it. It's a different definition of why. It's not just it blanks out. It's not there to be part of.
But what about when in your earlier experiments, you had a AM radio, I think, running all the time, and you knew that the reactor was working well when the radio stopped working?
Yeah, but that is the same. We still use that system sometime in the lab. It's very nice. That is the expansion. You become part of the DC. We have a system in the lab. It's about, I think, about 10 centimeters, no more. And we measure the field inside this plasma, and it's all DC. We don't see any AC. And where we see the AC is where the boundary of the plasma is. We don't have a ball holding everything in. The strength of the field dictates the boundary. And if you are inside this ball, which is DC, we don't see any AC, then you have no communication. Voice noise is a frequency, it has a vibration. It's not flatliner, as you call it. That's a problem. This is not a problem, but it's something, if you understand, is part of the process of the creation, why some of it cannot transmute. Because it's easier to work on the DC, on the flat line. Energies are very, very little difference than creating motion and jumping up and down trying to get through. Shall we call it a day?
Sure, yes.
Thank you very much. Got a lot to do. I started 3 o'clock this morning. I've already been working for 8 hours. Please support us. We need the support to get through this phase, and we are completed. And we need to get this done in the next couple of weeks, that we start the process of the world peace. You know exactly where we are. And hopefully we see the change, the beginning of the change. One of the biggest will be, for our generation, even peace. And then, as I said, what comes up with the car industry and the rest, these are all the fringe benefit of it. Thank you very much, and see you next week.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Keshe. Thank you. All right, well, that brings to a close our 593rd Knowledge Seekers workshop here on Thursday, June 5th, 2025. If anybody has any remaining questions, they can bring them forward to the next Knowledge Seekers workshop. And I will remind people, we also have the public meeting for testimonials coming up on Monday. I think it's June 9th then. And that starts at 8 p.m. Central European Summer Time. And that would be a great place to present your personal testimonial of the plasma technology. I note that Gianni here in the Q&A has sent a video of a plasma water birth, apparently, and of the pool where the birth took place. I haven't seen that yet, but we'll have a look at that in the public meeting for testimonials, and that is a good place for that kind of interaction and presenting things that may have been personally experienced by you of the plasma technology. So again, 8 p.m. on Monday, June 9th. Okay. You see, next Tuesday will be the next weekly meeting of the One Planet, One Nation, One Race for Justice and World Peace. And that will start at the 4 p.m. Central European Time with members of the Universal Council. Okay, I think that's it for now. So again, thank you everybody for attending today's workshop. And I will play our outgoing video in a second when I can find it again here. Just bear with me. Here we are. with the Flight Enhancement Spaceship Unit music version, as per usual here. And bye, everyone. See you next time around.